Hey everyone, welcome to Endurance, the Endurance Rewatch podcast. Ben, did you get that green sweatshirt from the green team's wardrobe department?
Honestly, you know what? Sometimes you're just inspired, and I today just want to celebrate, particularly Lana. I'm feeling like I want to just stand with Lana, and I wish I had the curls, but yeah, I was a little inspired today.
I do love her hair.
I know.
Um, it kind of reminds me of MJ Mackenzie from Big Brother 26 when she would like get curls in her hair. Yeah, exactly. Um, and
Uh,
I also think Mackenzie would have done incredibly well in Endurance. I don't know what
oh,
she was like
for
10 years
sure.
ago, but I'm assuming that she was like literally made for this show because she was so like she had the like southern like oh I'm like so moral and honest but like really good at she was very good at the BBAI arena obviously
Yeah.
and also was able to like people gravitated towards her. She was the cool girl in that house relatively.
Yep. Yeah, I think she would have been really good on
Yeah.
endurance.
Okay, well,
But we're going
Mackenzie,
to
if you're
talk about.
listening, we would have liked to see you on this show. That was a very long time ago. Mackenzie's probably younger than me, so it's okay.
Yeah, she probably was not even born. But we're going to talk about two episodes in particular of Endurance season one, episodes 10 and 11, which honestly I think are the peak of this season. They
Yeah.
are so much fun. If you've not watched, pause, watch it, come back because there's so much to cover.
Yeah, like don't like stop watching the season after this. Like I promise there are still like really exciting moments to have. However, like this is a social, strategic, physical, like teams who didn't have power before getting to power. The game structure is like extremely fluid. Like literally any team could have gone home in the course of these two episodes. And it actually is like extremely engaging to see like what happens when everything really comes to a head on the TV show Endurance. These are, yeah, two of my favorite episodes. We're going to be talking about House of Cards, episode 10, and Dial In, episode 11.
Yeah. So episode 10
Yeah,
starts.
I love this part.
We're back at the cabins. We get straight into gameplay. The teams are like, I mean, we're down to like the final five
Yeah,
teams.
no, four. And something I'll complain about Endurance is that it gets to the final four really quickly. Like the final four in pretty much every reality show, I'm talking like also Survivor, Big Brother, whatever. The final four is like if there's still conflict, is the peak of the gameplay because it's so down to the wire. But in Survivor and Big Brother, it's the finale. Like literally, there's nothing else to do except basically win at that point. And then, but here, like it still feels early in the game. Like if you got fourth place, you only placed like in the middle, in the median of
I know.
teams. So like it feels like it's so like, oh my God, we're here. But it is like once you're at four, all you gotta do is get to three, and then three is like you win or you're going to Temple anyway.
Yeah. Well, we recall that in the last episode, Green eliminated Orange. Green returns to the beach, triumphant the second time around,
Yep.
which is pretty incredible to be
Yeah.
sent that many times and to win twice.
But yeah.
It's a pretty big deal. And they, had to send basically the other team, like the team that was like unlikely to move up in the ranks. But like Green now has like there's a lot of competition to be done, and like everybody's kind of on edge. Like we revisit this whole thing, and you brought this up in like an early episode about the poles. That the red
Yeah.
and yellow poles are right next to each other on the beach. This is where they hang their pieces. And at some point, like a string or ribbon from Red's team got attached to the yellow team.
Well, the first time it was deliberate, but in future times when there's some paranormal activity we'll get to in the next episode, the wind may have had something to do with it. I have my own theories,
Well,
but
this is the thing. So like the teams are now like obviously red and yellow have been like like this really Sabrina and Ashley the whole game, but at this point Sabrina is recognizing that like dynamics are changing. She's not going to be able to just like ride and die with one team. You
yeah.
need teams that are able to compete. Green has come back from Temple twice. And so she's like, you know what? I'm going to cozy up a bit to Lana. She has like proven that she's a strong game player. Maybe her team isn't the strongest, but like her herself is pretty good at this game, and Sabrina recognizes like I need to make sure
Yeah.
everyone's on my side. So Lana has come back twice. Like I'm not
Yeah.
going to be on her bad side. So she is saying like, you know what? Like I think maybe it's time that Red and I kind of part ways.
Yeah, and I've always said like Lana is a bit of a Sabrina apologist, and I say that in like the nicest way possible. But
Yeah.
like when all the other teams felt like they were on a bit of like a moral high ground, higher than yellow, Lana was very much in the mix. So yeah,
Mhm.
which sue me, that's totally fine. Like yeah. Something else I noticed, they don't even discuss Chelsea leaving. Like they literally were just
No, I
like,
know.
"Good
We're
morning."
just like out of sight, out of mind. Like we've moved on. Like we don't even
Goodbye.
remember.
Okay, so JD comes to the hut and he takes the boys away immediately. I love
Yep.
this. I love when they do this. This happens in the Challenge Final Reckoning. This happens in the Challenge Rivals. Like there's so like I love when they do like a half of you come with me, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Right. So yeah, so the girls are left behind at the cabins, and the next scene we see them in their like challenge competition gear, which I noticed they did like Sabrina in particular, but all of them kind of did alterations on their like
Yes.
competition shirts. She like cut the
Yep.
sides, tied them together,
Yep.
like they made them
Beautiful.
very
I love
cool.
it. And this is something that will happen in every season, but also I think that's so interesting. Like this was were girls on Survivor wearing buffs as one pieces at this point? I don't know. If they weren't, then this was also game changing.
Yeah. And it's another one of these like they're sitting around the beach, they don't have a lot else to do, so they're like making crafts and like hanging out and whatever. But I found it like really interesting. But like we get to the beach, all of the teams have their like colored triangles sitting on the ground, and there's this like turned over wash basin upside down on the beach in front of their colors. JD's
I think they reused the wash basins from Waterlogged.
probably that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
But they cut like air holes in them.
Well, JD then says, like, well, what's under this
Or your
bucket or
supplies or
whatever
whatever, yeah.
is your supplies for this mission. And they say, at the count of three, I want you to pull them straight up. And they go,
Straight
yeah,
up, don't pull it sideways.
don't do it sideways. So they pull them straight up, and the boys are under there, buried to their heads, screaming at the
Iconic. I
girls.
love this moment so much. And
Ashley, like, freaks
Ashley
out.
freaks out. I think it was so well done. I think the boys were like fully in character. I want to know how sandy they were. Like I could not imagine. How do they get under there? I don't want to. I don't want. I don't want. I want to know, but I don't want to know. Like they were in the sand, literally. So for those of you, I'll clip this for TikTok. But like for those of
Yeah.
you not watching that, like they literally were just like head sticking up out of the sand. Their full bodies were under the sand. It was crazy. And I loved it. I loved it was so creative. One of the girls was like, I thought it was gonna be a chicken, which is like, what? Why would there be
Why
like
would it
a
be a
live
chicken?
chicken? What are you gonna do, like chicken wrangling? Okay, Ben, can you explain the
Yeah, so
challenge?
yeah, JD explains that well basically he asks a question. He's like, "What's the only man-made thing visible from space?"
The Great Wall of China.
You're correct.
Someone,
Good
someone,
job,
someone
Jordan.
yells it out like that.
Yeah, I think it's Layla who says it. Not Layla,
Layla's not
Lana.
here. Lana. Okay, yeah,
Might be
I can see
Layla.
her
We
saying
just
that. Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah.
Lana screams it out.
Layla would have known that.
She would have, of course, she would have known. And so we kind of get he walks through this challenge. Basically, the boys are going to be, buried to their heads. They're going to hold like a little plaque, like some sort
Plank.
of
Yeah.
base on their head. And the girls are going to take this series of bricks in the back, two at a time. There's a little bit of mud like next to the boys, and they're going to stack these pieces. Whoever stacks all of them without them falling over first wins.
So creative.
I agree. I think this is like one of the best challenges. It's kind of interesting. We've seen kind of a little bit of similar things, but nothing in like a team atmosphere. And so I really
Yeah.
do like that they both have something they have to do. I mean, it may be a lot easier for the boys in terms of just sitting there and being like,
They're balancing like bricks on their head. That sounds
these
hard.
are not real bricks. These are like
I don't
yoga
care.
blocks.
You still have to like balance with your head and you're not like stable on the ground. I think this is a very hard challenge. And I think it's hard for the girls. But we see one team really excel. Lana sets up these bricks so meticulously. She is
So,
like very calm and collected, but very organized. Like her stack is neat. There's no sloppiness, there's no like misalignment. Yeah.
and they're basically a little bit of neck and neck. Like they're booking it. The girls are running. But like you do see a little bit of different strategy from the girls in terms of how they're doing the stacking. Sabrina is moving very quickly. She's getting those bricks up, but she's doing it like Lincoln Logs, like
Yeah.
two this way,
Yeah.
two this way. It's getting tall
Yeah.
and like it falls over.
Yeah. There's no height requirement.
No, you just had to get all the bricks on
Yeah.
there. You just so anyway, she's able to recover very, very quickly. But like by the time she gets there, Lana has got all of the bricks. She's doing three on a
Yep.
level, and it was brilliant because it was low to the
Yep.
ground, easy for Trevor to keep them on his head. And Greens ends up winning to everyone's shock. Like I don't think anyone saw that.
No. Even Trevor goes, "We won something."
I know, you know. And the best is like as soon as this competition is over, they like go straight to the mud. John A, I think maybe the first
This
person
is so
like,
fun. I was gonna
throws
be
some
so
mud at
happy.
Lana, but they're all running after each other and like seriously having the best time. And it is really nice. And like
Yeah.
the next scene you have after they're all like running after each other is Lana saying like, "I like the power. It is fun." And
She
like
deserves it.
she is, because she's been basically at the bottom this whole time. She's gone to Temple twice. You know, the one time she had any kind of leverage in this game, her partner gave away all that sensitive information about what happens at Temple. So, like, good for her. She, like, finally
Listen,
got to celebrate
you make
something.
it sound like it's sensitive, compartmentalized information.
I mean, it's, signal chat level
Yeah.
types of discussions.
Um, there's a lot of gameplay back at camp.
Oh, my.
Lana's pretty much set on giving this Somali to Blue, which
Yeah.
makes perfect sense.
He just got sent
Yellow
up by Blue to the
is sent by
Temple.
Blue. Yellow's her ally, and then Red is less of a threat. So like that is whatever. But then we really are able to focus on. They do a very good job editing, basically setting us up for next episode. All the different dynamics working around the island.
Yeah.
So Christian is getting pretty sick of Sabrina's antics. Like
Yeah.
she's playing every single side. She's playing. We'll get to where she's playing Aaron. She's playing Aaron. She's friends with Lana. She's friends with Ashley. She has alliances with Chris. Like she's
No.
really everywhere. And Christian has a confessional being like, or he's just talking to Ashley. He's like, I know this is a strong word, but I hate Sabrina. Like, I'm sorry, I just hate her. And then the next confessional, I love this editing. The next confessional is Sabrina going, I just want to say I'm the biggest liar in the whole world. That's what I'm saying. Like she owns it. Like, that's why you can't get mad at her because she's like so owning it. Like
Yeah.
so, I would hate. I'm thinking of certain people from Survivor when they like are the biggest liar in the whole world, but act like they're not. If and you can act like it to other people that you're not. That's fine. Like I don't want you to run around saying you're a liar. But when you go to the confessional booth and you're talking to the producer, you
Yeah.
are a liar. Tell them you're a liar. You're lying. Why
Yes.
why
Exactly.
lie to them? Like
Own
so.
it for sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So like Sabrina, and again, she's a queen on this beach. She recognizes all the gameplay and what she needs to do to manipulate all of these situations. She is buddy buddy with Lana. They are.
Oh
She's
yeah.
not going to leave her side, and like she's
Who
basically
did we say
saying,
Who did we say Lana was? We say she was like was she in the Mean Girls plot?
I don't think we ever assigned her to the Mean Girls group. I think
If
John
she
Day was one
was
of the
if
members. I
she
think
was
she was
she'd be Gretchen and Ashley would be Karen and
John
John
A's.
A would be Katie Heron.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's probably right.
Yeah.
But like, so Sabrina is recognizing that like maybe it's time for Red to go, but I'm not going to be the one to do it.
Sure.
You've
Also,
now.
wait, I'm so sorry. Like, Red should be kept around. Red has literally barely won a mission. They won that one mission that Ashley won by herself. They have
Yes,
one piece.
right.
Like, I fully respect people's decisions to target blue, especially also now green has two pieces. Like, but
I know.
everyone's onto her. Everyone's just pissed about her, like, really trying to two-time everyone. I mean, she has another quote, I came here to win, not make friends. And
Yeah.
then that quote comes about because, like, someone's calling her out on, like, basically going back and forth. And she's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not here to make friends with everyone, which,
No.
like, is evolving gameplay.
Well, it's funny. Basically, Sabrina has been talking to Lana and saying like, I think maybe you should give the Samadhi because this is what we're all debating right now is who's going to get this disadvantage. We have to remember like at one point the Samadhi said you didn't get to participate in the temple mission, so like
Yeah,
who knows what's going to be in there. Yellow doesn't want it. Obviously, so Sabrina is doing anything she can to get it on someone else.
right.
Choices are limited, and I think, maybe she doesn't want Green to give it to Blue because she's able to manipulate
Aaron,
Aaron. She
yeah.
knows that they're going to be strong.
Right. There is
In,
a chance that Erin could send Red to Temple and she'd rather be on that side of it. It's true. Right. Half the
yeah,
teams are going to Temple next episode. Well,
right.
and then at some point, once everyone's really getting onto her, a gust of wind blows and the red ribbon unwraps from the yellow pole, which is
Dramatic.
Yeah.
And Lana sees it and she even comments like the minute she says she's turning on red is when they
Yep.
disengage. And
Yep.
it's
Yep.
like
Yep. I know.
spooky. She says it's
Yeah.
spooky.
All this gets resolved before the rock, essentially. But not that any of this really matters because Green's the one with the decision this episode. It's just a Samadhi. As I said, we understand why they're giving it to Blue. They have the reasons to give it to Blue. Blah, 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 blah. We get to the rock, though. And
Yeah.
JD, I don't know if it's because he's executive producer and he has like the all-seeing eye, or if it's like the people on the ground of the huts were really good at like getting this back. JD asks he says, Aaron, is there a girl on this island that you like? And he goes, not anymore. And
Yeah.
then JD's like, what do you mean? He goes, well, it didn't work out. And then he goes, why didn't it work out? And he goes, ask Sabrina. And then
I
Sabrina
know.
goes, he never told me that he likes me. And then Aaron's like, yes, I did. Like every other day when we would
And like
walk to the
Sabrina's
rock,
like, name them, tell me
name
when.
him.
Like
And then Aaron goes, never mind. And then Sabrina goes, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, first of all, I have to
I
give
know.
production some blame. They just really embarrassed this kid in front of like in the entire country. And
Yeah.
on top of that, I have to give Sabrina her chops for thinking on her feet and not like she did not back down. She didn't act she could have easily been like so awkward about it, like you're getting called out. But no, she's like, I don't know, like what are you talking about? Like if you were told me you like me, you would have told me you liked me. If the whole thing is just like it's painful to watch, but it's really good TV.
It's great TV. Well, then we get the decision from the green team of who's getting the Samadhi. Not a big surprise, but it's going to be the blue team. They
Yeah.
had something to the temple. Fair enough. So John A. and Aaron get up. They get the Samadhi. They throw it against the rock. And of course, we're like, what's going to be their disadvantage in the next one? There's a rock in there. And it says that that you're going to get a 15-second delay to start the next mission.
Not bad.
End of episode.
Yeah. Episode 11. I love this episode so much. Okay, so an ongoing symbolic motif of Aaron and Sabrina's relationship were the necklaces that Aaron was making for
Yeah.
Sabrina, and Sabrina was wearing them. And I think it implied that Aaron likes Sabrina. Sabrina's wearing the necklaces, so she likes him back, like blah, 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 blah. But Sabrina took off the necklaces, and Aaron's mad. I mean, Sabrina's mad that he like
Is
embarrassed her
mad.
at the rock. But I'm
Yeah.
like, no, like this is embarrassing for Aaron. I'm on Aaron's side for this one, unfortunately.
No. Poor boy. He got so manipulated. But again, this is okay, so these episodes, this is a temple episode. So we get straight to the temple competition. And this one is, I think, really interesting. It doesn't last as long as it could, but like JD brings them to the beach. There are these like wheels with numbers and letters and like some sort of a puzzle
Colors, yeah.
situation, colors, and he walks them through like what is cryptography, and he like basically demonstrates how these like code breakers work. And he's like, you're gonna have to crack the endurance code in order to win this mission.
Yes, you're spelling out a question that you have to align numbers, letters, and colors on this wheel to make words. Can I tell you, Ben?
Yeah,
I've watched this challenge about 100 times in the last 20 years. I still have no idea like how to do it. Like I understand they're making words, but once you find the right thing, do you just stay there and you just like boop 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 boop, or do you have to continually spin around? And also, like, is the strategy just to go one by one and like try to find it? I mean, we actually find out
yeah.
what the right strategy is. This challenge has always like really just confused me.
Well, you know
Um,
who Jordan it did not confuse?
well, let's get to the whole thing. So the teams start. Everyone's confused. Christian's like, it's Inca. And I'm like, Inca? No, it's not. 15 seconds go by, which is really not that long. I think,
Not long
especially
at
for a challenge
all.
like this, yes, there's like a learning curve, but once you get it, you get it. Jinx, 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 jinx. Okay, this is one of my favorite moments in endurance history. So they're writing out yellow and blue both pretty much are getting there. The question that you need to solve for is which team left endurance first, which is like I think it's a really smart way to do this. So
Yeah.
they're writing them down on like a little like whiteboardy thing to try to like match the number of letters. They both get the first three words. So which team left left, then the next word, and this is where I'm giving John A more credit, and like this just shows how much potential she had and has.
Oh, yeah.
She basically figures out Endurance. Aaron's like not even done writing it down. And then she's just guessing where she goes, island. And then she goes, at first. And then she just runs. She like, don't
Yeah.
write it down. Don't ponder. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to say it. Like, do not waste a second. She literally like transports from the puzzle board to the mat. And she's like, it's great. Like, doesn't even read out the question.
I
It's just
know.
that, like, it's just so genius that, like, because
And you
if
like
I
look
was
in the
there,
back. You look in the back, and like Green has not figured
not
out a
anything.
letter. Like not even a letter.
Yellow was close.
Yeah.
And that would have changed the entire, oh my God, if yellow one, that would have been crazy. But this is like so expertly done, and Janae knows it, and she goes, yes, oh my God. Like, and it was so perfect.
And then they go to a confessional with her, and she's like, "Here's the thing. JD said it was a question, so like, who, what, when, where, why? Like, it's
So
gonna be
smart that she went to the
it's
W
so
first for
smart.
the first word. I would not have thought of that, first of all.
No,
And
not at
second of all,
all.
even if I did figure it out, I would have hesitated. I wouldn't have had the wherewithal to be like, don't write, just go and say the answer. Like, don't even like ask for forgiveness later. And she just goes, a few different things I had. So, firstly, this Samadhi happens again on a future season with a puzzle. It was a minute. I'm not going to spoil anything, but let's just say that the challenge was done in less than a minute. So the team who got the Samadhi essentially like had to sit out. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
iconic.
mean, certainly they like obviously we talked about this and how they set up these challenges. Like that is a challenge in
Yeah,
itself, and they don't really know how big or little some of
right.
these disadvantages may or may not be.
And I would have to think that the producers did not expect that challenge to be
Oh,
less than a minute when it happens that way. And then another thing is Janae will see this exact challenge again in 2021 when they were doing the Challenge All Stars 2 final in Mexico. She's partners with MJ Garrett. They're going up against Melinda and Nehemiah and Ayana and Tech and Janelle and Darrell, which is one of my favorite finals in Challenge history. It was just so much to unpack. And they have to do like the checkpoints in the jungle, and one of the checkpoints is literally this challenge. And at this point, Johnny and MJ were not doing well. They like were really far behind. It was basically like Melinda and Nehemiah's final to lose. And they come up to this puzzle and they're like, oh my God, Johnny gets it in like half a second. And they still got third place that day, but they like if they every time was of the essence. They were all dehydrated. That was like one of the hardest like singular days in challenge history. So like to save 30 minutes, she figured that puzzle out in like a second. To save that 30 minutes of like staring at the puzzle was incredible.
I
Like
know.
she knows. And then Janae's confessional, after she talks about like the who, what, where, when, she goes, we won. We won. Yes, we won. We beat all odds back off world. And that was like, that's the Janae I know. And I also think that this is the first example of someone being the Samadhi. This happens again in future seasons, but it just shows that like, yeah, it can be done
For sure.
as long as
Well, now
production gives them the opportunity.
we go back to camp, and obviously now Blue is going to be deciding who's going. Green is like, obviously we're going. We
Yeah.
gave them the Samadhi.
They're
They've sent
such
us
dicks
guys.
about it. Trevor's like already packing, and then
I
Lana walks in.
know, and like
She's
Lana,
like, John A, can you just tell me already if I'm going or not?
exactly. And it's, I mean, I get it, and I understand why Lana, but like we're at the point in this game where like emotions are running very high.
Well, also, why would they send Red? Red literally can't win a mission and also has no pieces. It makes like 150% sense to send.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like all of the stuff with Aaron and Sabrina is now coming to a head, and for some reason, we have to clarify the status of their relationship in order to determine who is going to the temple for elimination.
They
I found
clarify
it
it
really
like 50
interesting.
different ways, shapes, and forms.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, Kristen's like, how do you, are you going to send up the woman, or I mean, the woman you want to be your woman? And they basically, this is coming down to Green's going,
Yeah.
but it's really coming down to Aaron. They paint it as really Aaron's decision.
Yep.
Are you going to do the strategic thing for like, like strategic in the physical sense and send Sabrina, who's clearly the bigger physical threat?
Yeah.
Or are you going to do the social thing and not send Sabrina because she's your girlfriend, kinda, but not, but is she, but not, but is she? And basically, Sabrina gaslights him into being like, "What are you talking about? Like, I always liked you. Like, we were always like flirting. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we always were going to do this thing."
Yep.
We literally just saw last episode that was not the case.
I know, but she's so good at this.
I
And she
know.
even like says, like, John A and her are sitting on the beach together, and John A is like, just
You,
Like, tell
you're a
me, do
liar.
you like him? Like, tell the truth. Do you like him? She doesn't even make eye contact. She just goes, yes. And Jonna's like, liar. And she's like, what? And then basically, I think in the next Sabrina confessional, she says, if making Aaron think I like him is the only way to stay, then I'll do it.
And then she goes to John and she goes, I told Aaron I like him. John's like, what the fuck?
I
And
know.
and and Sabrina's like, I had to. That was the only way we're not gonna get sent. And then John goes, all right, I guess we're not getting sent. John does not know where he is. But
No,
like,
not. He's basically the only there for when Sabrina tells him to do something.
or when Sabrina's like shocking him with her like emergent gameplay, which is like
Well,
so
John and Ashley do talk a little bit because Ashley's like, okay, well, if I can't get Sabrina on my side, like, let me at least go to John and see what I can do. But like, she's like, just don't send me, like, promise you're not going to send me, like, whatever, whatever. And he's like, I don't know, like, we like don't have real say, whatever. But I do find it interesting, like, Ashley and Sabrina are now kind of at edge, like, over this whole thing. And it's like, I don't know. It's like I find it really interesting. Sabrina's now getting like, like a little whatever. Like basically Sabrina and Ashley do kind of make amends and it's really interesting to see because the ribbons and the poles come back to us again. They,
and Ashley says, yeah, Ashley has a confessional basically like commending Sabrina's strategy. She's like, she's doing what she has to do, which is like also crazy because if Sabrina's successful, that means Ashley's going, but whatever.
exactly. But then they like have a heart to heart. They make amends over like we can't let boys come between us, whatever. Like we're like sisters. And then what happens, Jordan?
The
The
things,
the winds and the spirits of Catalina Island
yeah,
reattach their poles. That red
right.
ribbon finds its way back to the yellow pole again, and it is crazy.
Spooky. And so at this point, I think it's implied that that Ashley and John are like a thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's so much more that happens in the here. It's like they're basically all running back and forth between like Aaron, Sabrina, Ashley, Janae, Lana, and then John and Trevor is existing in the ether, and then Christian's also in the mix, like running back and forth, being like, who's saying what, who's on what side now, and it's like coming down to basically like Aaron's choice. Like Janae is making it clear to the group that she's like, if Aaron thinks that he doesn't want to send Sabrina, then he doesn't have to, but like obviously it's not smart to. So Ben, who do they send?
Yes. So JD comes back and is like, okay, Blue, who's your choice? And she says, John A speaks for the team, shocker. She says, green, not a surprise, and yellow. And honestly, I did scream. I'd seen this before, but it shocked me.
Yeah,
It's shocking, but like to hear that Sabrina is going to the temple for potential elimination is
crazy. I know. And okay, so then the next segment, pre-temple, is narrated by Christian, which I love that he gets to be the narrator. And basically he's explaining how yellow, when I say yellow, I mean Sabrina, and green, I mean Lana, are really angry and they're taking this anger out on Aaron, but also John A, who I
oh,
think like really
it's
tried to
on
make it
her.
clear. But I
Yeah.
think they blame John A for basically like giving Aaron telling John A definitely wanted Yellow to go and definitely like pushed Aaron in that direction, even though Aaron got the final choice. But they're like really mean to both of them.
It's
They tell Aaron to cry in the confessional, and then John A goes and cries on her bed, and Sabrina goes, "Gonna go cry now? Should have thought of that before you sent me to temple." Like it's very
it's really mean. It's like too mean. And I get they're emotional and like we've seen this with Lana before with her previous being sent to temple. She has no fucks to give at this point, but like didn't have to go there. And like John A
yeah,
even says like it's a little too much.
it's a little too
Um,
much.
So yeah, so they're packed. They get their pieces. Obviously, Sabrina and John have to carry four of them because they have the most. And so they head up to the temple, and we have the elimination. First, we get, and again, this is Yellow's first time up there. But first, we have Green picking fire, Yellow picks wood. Green is up 1-0, and they're like, we've got this, one more, and we're back to the beach for the third time.
That'd be crazy.
I know. Then the second pick goes, Yellow picked wood, and Green picked water. Water floats on wood. much to Jordan's.
I just think it's a little lazy. Like they're kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? They're like just jumping a little too far with that one.
Yeah. And then, okay, so now it's going to come down to this final element pick. And yellow picks fire, green picks wood, yellow wins, sends green home on their third and final temple elimination.
That's it. Boom.
I mean, I think Lana and them had a great run. Um, Pour one out for them. I wore my green hoodie in their memory.
Yeah, I've always been like a closeted Lana fan. Like I always actually really wanted her to do well. She also comes back for the COVID like Zoom reunion, and
Wow.
seems to be doing like very well.
Oh, good. I'm happy.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the last pictures we get from this episode is Yellow running down the beach, and it's like nothing happened at the beach earlier in the day. They are very excited, and the first person that Sabrina hugs is Janae. So like, no hard feelings, at least for now. But it is really nice to see them all together.
Yeah.
Like these are our final teams. Like this is
Yeah.
like there's
Final
no
three is final three. I mean, just to preface, like there is a Samadhi next week,
yeah,
but then basically whoever loses Temple is going. So
exactly.
there's no more. The last decision to be made is who gets a Samadhi. After that, it's like
Yeah,
okay. Which
yep,
I will say, the final three Samadhi is the most important one because you're basically, if you win that Samadhi to give out, then you now have, instead of a 33% chance of winning Final Temple, you can maybe say you have like a 45% chance or something if the team who got the Samadhi now has like a less chance. But yeah,
and that's the end of that episode,
that's the end
Jordan.
of that episode.
It was it's so much fun, but
So much fun.
we're gonna be wrapping up season one very soon, and it's been really fun. I loved revisiting these episodes. I'm gonna miss these characters, but I'm looking forward to the finale and yeah, and sort of like our final thoughts on this season. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. Why don't you tell everyone, Ben, where they can find you?
They can find me on Instagram. I'm at BJ Rosenbaum. And Jordan, where can they find you?
jord.grant on Instagram, and then follow our pod on all the channels. It's Endurance Pod one, the number one, on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and social. And I also want everyone to follow our TikTok because I'm gonna get more creative with it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Jordan. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Endurance. And we hope to see you next time.
Laters.
Bye.